Hello, and welcome back to the Nourish with Purpose podcast. It's Bailey, and I hope you're having a great Thursday or whenever you're listening to today's episode. I have to give a little disclaimer before we jump into this. I started recording, and it was recording on my phone instead of through the mic on my computer. So the audio for the first literally 7 minutes of this is not going to be the best, but then I promise it'll improve from there. But I just wanted to give you that little warning. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. I have some really exciting news for you, and of course, I hope by now you know that the podcast always gets the news first. I just feel like we have a different type of bond when you are showing up every week and listening to the podcast, or every other week, or if I miss a week, maybe the next week and the following. Anyway, I hope you are doing well. It has been a while since I recorded, and I just feel like I have so many updates for you. I'm going to jump into probably the biggest announcement that I have on today's episode in a little bit, but I wanted to do a little bit of a catch-up, kind of just bring you up to speed on what's been going on in life, because I feel like the last few weeks have been monumental, but at the same time, kind of same old. So really, over the last couple of weeks, I feel like I've had this shift, and it has a lot to do with what I am working on, what I'm going to announce, but just this honestly, gratitude for what is happening within my life right now. I feel like I go through seasons, and I've said this many times, the beginning of every month is always difficult for me. I kind of go through a little bit of a mood swing, and then I kind of level out as the month keeps going. Well, anyway, I feel like the last couple of weeks, it's kind of been almost a pinch me moment of okay, how is all of this happening, and all of this happening so effortlessly, and I don't say that obviously out of pride, but just I've had so many seasons where I feel like I have just worked my butt off for things to happen and not seen a lot of benefit from that. So I do think it is just really rewarding to see the fruits of your labor, right? To work hard, continue to show up as much as you can every single day, and to actually feel like things are just happening. And I say that more so from a business lens. I would say 2025 was really good to me. 2026 has been even better to me, and that's just how every year with business has been over the last, 5 years now? It's really crazy how fast the time has gone, but just I don't know, the comparison and the stress and everything that goes into it, how good it feels to, I don't even want to say be on the other side, but be at a point where I'm okay, things are consistently happening. I don't have to work as hard. I mean, I'm still working hard, but I don't have to work as hard to maybe get clients or connect with people or whatever the case is. And it's just so nice. 2025 was like this as well, to be at a point where I'm just grateful for what is happening around me. And that goes business-wise, that goes lifestyle-wise or life-wise. It's just, we celebrated Oliver's first birthday on a couple Sundays ago, and it's just crazy, honestly, that it's even been 1 year that I've had him. I feel the freshly postpartum stage feels like it was forever ago, but at the same time, it's crazy that, it's honestly, you can't even remember life without him. My grandma has always said that, once you have kids, you just can't really remember life without them, and that's so true. I'm what did we do before we had Oliver? And Nathan and I ask that all the time, how did we fill our time? I genuinely don't know. Did we watch a lot of TV? I don't feel like it. We went on a lot of walks. That would be one thing. But it's life before him was just so different, and feels like a different version of me. And I think that is really what happens after you have a kid. Maybe this is just for the first kid. Maybe you feel this after every single one. I wouldn't know. But I literally feel like a part of me died in a sense. But I'm so much more proud and grateful for who I am now than I was before I had a baby. And I feel like if you met me before I had a kid, and then you met me now, it would be, and maybe to other people it doesn't feel any different, I feel like an entirely different person, but in a really good way. Not in a I don't know who I am, midlife crisis way, but just different. friends maybe that haven't met Oliver. It's like friends or family that hasn't met Oliver. I'm like, I don't know how you can know me without knowing him, right? And it's just really this interesting place to be in and to feel that way. I feel like life has just been so good since Oliver came into the world. Like, I was telling Nathan, he's just literally the coolest person ever. And it's funny because it's like this little being that can't really even he can't form complete sentences, doesn't really say words without even knowing what they mean, but you can just connect with them. It's so crazy. Yesterday, it's so funny. Oliver was in the 10th percentile for being so small when he was born, and now he is like 2 pounds over the weight that they're supposed to be at 1 year old or could be at 1 year old. I don't really follow those guidelines, but I do just think it's really interesting how, he was so tiny when he was born, and I was always worried, like, is he getting enough food? I don't know. Well, now he has this little belly, and it's so cute. It's also very convicting because I look at his belly and I'm like, I need to look at myself and have that much admiration for my belly because he has no shame. He always needs a snack before bed. Otherwise, he will just cry and cry and cry. So we always give him the same thing every single night before bed. But I was having some chips and guac that I didn't have with supper, and I finished after a client call last night. And he reaches into the bag, grabs some chips, reaches down, puts it in some guac, starts eating it, just like no care in the world. He just does what he wants, and it's so funny. He's like patting his belly as he's eating his chips and guac. I'm like, you go, dude. Like, you have no shame, and I just love it so much. He's just hilarious. But we celebrated his first birthday. The theme was Oliver's first farmer's market, which I felt like was very on trend for me to have that be, the theme. Unfortunately, there was a lot of bad weather in Omaha, if you're from Nebraska, Omaha, Lincoln area, so a lot of friends and family were unable to make it, but we still had a good group, and it was just really fun. I spent so much time prepping food, and I made some like citrus olive oil cake, like little loaves, and then a big loaf for Oliver, obviously for his first cake to just like mess with and eat whatever he wanted from. And then I'm trying to think what else we did. That was really the bulk of it. I spent really Thursday, which was his actual birthday, until Sunday, just getting things ready and going shopping at Trader Joe's. And let me tell you, if you live close to a Trader Joe's, that is a luxury that you should never, ever take for granted. I lived obviously close to one when I was in college, and then one when we lived in Omaha. And then when you leave that, city, it's like, okay, well, now I have like either a small town grocery store, which we don't even actually have one of those, or we have a Walmart. And Walmart is really stepping up their game. I will give them that. But at the same time, it's just not a Trader Joe's. Like, the produce they have there is just, it's a different level. And so being able to shop there, I just felt like this surge of inspiration again. And I feel that anytime I go to like Whole Foods, Natural Grocers, Trader Joe's, I will say, people think that everything there is healthy. The only things that I buy there are staple items, maybe nut mixes, because they have some without oils. Their prepackaged food is not really good for you, but their produce is incredible. And so just having exposure to that was such a gift. I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm ready to actually make really different meals now. And just having variety makes such a big difference. So that was on Sunday. And then really from there, it's just a lot of what I'm going to share with you. But before we get into that, I have a couple things that I've been loving that I thought I should share with you because, I don't know, every time I'm listening to a podcast, I really love to just hear what people are, watching, what they're reading, what they're listening to, and I'm going to do one of each. Okay, we are back with a better audio. I am so sorry about that, but I want to get into the things that I am listening to, reading, and watching. I want to start off first with what I'm watching. So I am watching Love Story by, I don't know who it's by, but it's on Hulu, I want to say. And it is about John F. Kennedy Jr. and his wife. And let me tell you, I am so hooked on this show. It comes out every Thursday and we have one more episode left, but I am just so in love with them both. And I was telling Nathan, I'm like, how interesting would it be to watch like a documentary about your kids, or to be a kid and watch a documentary about your parents and just see their romance, like in their whole love story and everything. And so I'm like, I just have to know, like, what are they doing now? Okay, well, if you were born before 2000, they are no longer alive. Like, I still can't not wrap my head around this. And I sound very emotionally invested because I really am. But sorry, spoiler, if you didn't know that. If you're watching it, you probably do. But they have, in this next episode, I have no idea what's going to unfold, but it really just is like bringing you obviously through their life, through their love story. His wife was in PR maybe at Calvin Klein, beautiful model-ish, and she gets married to John F. Kennedy Jr. They have a beautiful wedding, very intimate, and then they kind of go through these seasons of growth and shifts as they obviously evolve as a married couple. Things happen before that. I'm missing obviously a lot, but that's kind of the sum of it. It's just watching this beautiful love story play out. Well, anyway, like I said, I was like, okay, I need to see what they're doing now. I'm so emotionally invested in them too and their lives. And then to find that news out that they died in a plane crash in 1999, literally on July 16, which my mom was like, probably why you feel so connected is because that was on the TV when I was in labor with you, or like while I was in the hospital after delivering you, because my birthday's on July 21. I'm like, oh my word, it's so tragic. I'm like, I'm going to sob. I'm just going to sob my eyeballs out because it's wild. It's wild to become so invested in something and then to figure out that is the result, right? There's like no happy ending. And I feel like that's something that in other countries, they really expose themselves to, of a lot of stories, like, I don't know, British documentaries or films, they don't have happy endings. They all just kind of end. There was one that I watched on Hulu when I was in high school, and I don't remember what it was called. But again, got so invested, and I'm like, okay, this is all going to work out. It's all going to play out. No, the worst things possible happen, and then that's the end of it. And I just know that's not what we do in the US. We just expect like this beautiful, happy ending wrapped up in a bow, and that's honestly just not life sometimes. So it has been very eye-opening, but if you have not watched that, I really didn't spoil anything, because if you know anything about them, that's what happens. But it's a true story, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend. I've just really loved it. I don't know why it's not typical, it's not something I would typically watch, but I'm very invested. The next thing, what I'm reading, I have to tell you, this is the first book I've read in probably 6 months. And I really hate to say that, because the last 2 years, my goal was to hit 20 books in the year of 2024. 2025 was 24 books, and I do think I hit that. And then I just don't have an excuse. I've just not read anything, and probably scrolled way more. So I've started a book. I really don't know where I got this rec from. I listen to a lot of podcasts and they talk about books, but I don't know if that's where I heard this from, or I just had it in my notes app on my phone, and I'm like, okay, we're just going to start with that one. It's called Then She Was Gone, a novel. And I don't know who it's by, but I'm only 42% into it. And it's really about this girl who goes missing out of plain sight, and it brings you through her and all the things that she could have done to prevent whatever happened. And then it takes you through her mother's story, and then it takes you through her tutor's story, and how all these people are connected. I mean, it does kind of clearly lay out. I believe the reason why I started reading this is because the person that recommended it was like, I just knew what was happening the whole time. Like, it was pretty straightforward. And I would say, yeah, I agree with that. Like, I feel like I kind of know how this book is going to end. And then they said the twist at the end is so unexpected that like you just can't prepare yourself for. So I think that I heard that from Kristen Johns on the That's the Point podcast. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure, but I do believe that's why I thought this book would be interesting, because I love a little surprise. And I feel like Frida McFadden has really good books, but they're all kind of the same. And I feel like again, I kind of know how most of them are probably going to end. She's a great writer, but I just needed to switch it up a little. So I've been reading Kristen Hansen, a lot of her books. I read The Women. That was the last book I read. Oh, I actually probably read that around December, January timeframe. The best book I've ever read in my whole life. I take that back. There's another series that I like more than that, but second favorite book ever. So good, and just honestly just an incredible book. So that was probably my top book, and then this one, we'll just see how it goes. But that's what I am reading. And then what I'm listening to, I will say podcasts right now just have not been that interesting to me. I don't know what I'm looking for, really, but I'm just not finding it. So I've been listening to a lot of music, and I've been listening to a lot of Ella Langley and Braxton Keith. I always listen to a lot of Zach Top, but I am a big fiddle country music type of gal. I don't know if that you would expect that. Maybe you would. But I really if country music doesn't have a fiddle, I'm just not that interested. And I don't know. Both of them, I guess Ella Langley, not so much. She's a little more pop country, but still has the twang. Anyway, I listen to her radio on Spotify and truly just love it. There's such good variety, and Braxton Keith is on there, and Zach Top. It's just a good mix of everybody that I've been listening to. I'm curious if it surprises you what I listen to when it comes to music. But outside of that podcast, I listen to That's the Point, the Bostics, sometimes, and the What We Said podcast. I need recommendations though. So if you have a podcast you're listening to that you love, please send it over, because I'm just kind of in a rut. I'm really not wanting to listen to a lot of health podcasts anymore. I feel like I just kind of am maxed out at what I know and what I can help people with. So I needed a break on that. So anything that's fun, chatty, not a lot of gossip though. I had something come on my Instagram from The Toast, maybe as a podcast, and they were just being so rude and talking about how much they hated people, and it just felt really wrong. So not that kind of chatty, but just fun girl talk. Would love some recommendations for podcasts from you. Okay, I think that's kind of it. That's all I want to catch you up on. Let's get into what I'm starting. And like I said, you're on the podcast, so you're going to hear about everything before anybody else. And that is that I am starting a coffee cart. Now, I don't know, this might be out of the blue for some of you if you don't follow me on Instagram, but I feel like postpartum, I really got into coffee, and I've always had this dream, truthfully. I was looking back on my Pinterest, and 3 years ago is when I had the first blimp of this idea and actually started making moves to make this happen. So it's been a long time coming, truthfully, but I just didn't always know what it was going to look like and when it would happen, where it would happen. If you listen to the podcast episode called Be a Doer, that was maybe 3 episodes back, that I kind of hint to something like this, but I didn't really say what it was or what it was going to be, just because I really do feel like I'm an open book, and I wanted to make sure that I had everything kind of sorted before I just came out and told you what I was hoping to do or trying to do. So let me backtrack before I give you a full deep dive, because most of you are probably not here for coffee content, for any of that, but hopefully you've gotten to know me a little bit more, learned about my personal life, maybe we've worked together. And so I want to talk about what this looks like from a business perspective, and that is that nothing there is changing. I am still working with clients. I'm still taking on clients. I'm still working the exact same hours that I work right now, still as invested in that as I am right now. So rest assured that that is not changing. That is not shifting. I am more busy than I've ever been in my whole life. Busy. I hate that word. Ugh. I am more I don't know what word to use instead. Anyway, I am at a really good point business-wise. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Things are going well. I'm not shifting that. I'm not changing that. My focus is still preconception health. I'm still working with women in that area, women of all ages, truly, but preconception health is the area I've shifted into, taken a lot of clients on in the last couple of months in that area, and it just lights me up, truthfully, like no other work has. So that's not changing. That is not shifting. But what I'm doing in my free time, now that is changing. And not because I just want more things to do, but because I just feel like I have my business, and that is all something that I can only do with myself, right? Like my son can't be on client calls. He can't really be around when I'm working because I don't get a lot done. So I have childcare and I have a lot of help through those hours of my week. But I wanted something that I was able to work on and do alongside him, right? I can have him around. I can be doing these things. I can be, in the morning, that's already something we do together, is like he helps me make my morning coffee by pressing the buttons and tamping it. And it's just really sweet and special. And not that I think he is going to come with me to do this, but just to be able to have him around and have it be something that my family grows into. Obviously want to have more kids, and I just don't always know what things are going to look like when it comes to not really my business, because that's always a priority and always will be a priority. I think I've done way too much to get here to abandon ship on that. But I do think all of my extra time and energy, if I'm not obviously being a mom and a wife, goes to thinking about my business and goes to continuing education and goes to building. And I'm kind of seeing myself get to a point of burnout. Not, again, when I'm working with clients, but when I'm just thinking about it all the time. And all the research, all the podcasts, like I said, I'm just kind of burnt out with that type of thing. Like I want to really know and master what I know and just be fine with that and accept that that is so much more than enough, and get to a point where like that is not all consuming in my life. And I think if you have your own business, like maybe I'm naive in thinking that it'll be different, but I just need something to pursue outside of that. Not because I don't love what I'm doing, not because I don't love, like I said, everything about it. It's all consuming. And I feel like that's really quickly become my identity almost, in a sense. Even if it's not externally obvious, I feel like internally, like that's what I know. That's what people talk to me about. And I love that. I really do. I just need something. So I know I've like over-explained that a million times, but I just want to assure you that nothing is changing. The podcast is not changing. I'm still talking about the same things, but just things I'm pursuing in personal life look a little different. And this coffee cart situation, so let me kind of bring you through where this has been in the past 3-ish years. So when Nathan and I got married, I obviously got certified in everything that I do now. Some certifications, I guess, graduated college, got married. And then that following year, I was kind of having a little bit of a crisis. I was like, I have no idea what I want to do with my life. I absolutely hated my job, and my third job that I had after college, I just really hated. Met good people, hated the job. And so I was like, I'm going to start an oatmeal food truck. Now, before you laugh, I know that sounds ridiculous. Looking back, I'm like, what was I thinking? But let's just keep in mind, this is 2022, maybe 2023. Overnight oats were making their debut. They were the thing. That's what everybody's having for breakfast. That's what I was having for breakfast, sharing on my stories. A lot of people were like talking to me about my overnight oats. So I'm like, I'm going to do a food truck, and I'm going to do a variety of different flavors. And, that's just kind of where I was like, okay, we're going to do this. So I was so determined to get out of my job that I just like randomly one day decided to drive to, I couldn't tell you, drove somewhere because I saw a Facebook listing. I'm really exposing myself. Saw a Facebook listing for this trailer, like an old camper, a Liberty something, 1978 or something. And I'm like, I'm going to buy that. Did I need to spend what I did on that? I will never say or vocalize what I spent on that, because I've kind of gaslit myself into thinking it was less than that, but I know it wasn't. So I go to this house, and it's this couple, and I, knock on their door. I go by myself after work one day with my husband's pickup, because I'm like fully determined I'm going to buy this. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it looks like. I'm buying it. I'm leaving with this. And when I get a thought in my brain, that thought is not changing. Like I have had to work really hard to change the picture in my head and be okay with that as an adult, because usually like that doesn't go so well. But I show up there and they're like, okay, yeah, like let's go check it out. So we get into this camper. It is old. It is crusty. It is dusty. It's raining outside and it starts dripping rain into this camper. And I'm like, well, they said there was nothing wrong with it, but obviously there is something wrong. They're like, oh, it never does this. What? This is so crazy. It never does this. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I know how to fix that. It's fine. I'm going to buy it. Yep, I think it looks great. I'm going to buy it. If I could just go back and tell myself, why are you buying that? Well, I did, because like I said, I don't change the picture in my head. Well, if I get a thought, it's happening. So I went and bought this trailer. And if you think that a certain amount for like a 50, 40-year-old trailer is a lot, just like multiply that probably by 2. And I was like, okay, yep, we're going to do this. Drove it to my parents' yard because we were living in Omaha. I didn't have a place to park this thing, mind you. And I'm like, hey, here's my trailer. Just bought it. I'm going to start an oatmeal food truck. And per usual, because my dad is a realist, he's like, oh, okay. Well, you've already bought it, so we're just going to roll with the punches. And my mom's like, yeah, let's do it. You know, she's very encouraging. My dad is the realist. My mom is a realist as well, but I feel like if I have an idea, she'll kind of add fuel to the fire in a way that's like, yeah, just do it. So anyway, I get this food truck, or it's not a food truck, it's nothing. And I park it in my dad's old shed. And I'm like, I'll be back in a couple weekends. We're going to tear this thing out. We're going to gut it and we're going to remodel it. So we went back over a series of a couple weekends, Nathan and I, and it was a great way to let out my rage from the job that I hated so much. Actually, really good. I would say it was probably the cost of therapy at the same time. So maybe at the end of the day, I did save myself some money because I just took out all my anger on this thing. It was so fun to just tear it apart. So we kept the frame and we got it down to the frame. And I was like, I don't know what to do from here. I had a can of Flex Seal and I had a roller brush. And I'm like, well, my plan was just like Flex Seal the exterior so that it was all sealed up. And then we could really work on the interior. And at that point, I realized I have no plan. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this thing. I have no idea what I need in the state of Nebraska in order to make this actually like legally be able to run. I have no plan. And now I'm typically a planner, but like I said, I get a thought in my head. It's not changing. So I'm like, okay, all right, well, I don't know what to do from here. My dad's like, Flex Seal, like that can of Flex Seal, you thought that small little can of Flex Seal was going to seal the whole roof. I'm like, well, I kind of did. And I didn't know how to paint it. It was down to the bare bones. We had the tin on the outside, but the whole thing was like literally shaking. And that's when I realized I made a mistake. And that is where my dad bailed me out kind of a mistake. He's like, what did you pay for this? And I told him much less than what I actually paid for it. And he's like, I will buy this back, or I will buy this from you and use it as a deer blind if we learn our lesson that we need to really think things through before we do them. And I'm like, okay, deal. You can buy this from me for $500, even though I spent more than that on this, and then I'll feel much better about this. So anyway, that then all got kind of put on the back burner. I also was like toying around with like maybe like a coffee trailer. I thought that could be something, just letting like the ideas roll. Well, then I realized like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I actually quit my job then and pursued coaching full time. So huge shift. We actually moved back home to be closer to my family and live in this house that came up for sale that we purchased. And so we were renovating the house, and that kind of took up a big part of our last couple of years. Well, throughout those last couple of years, I also had a couple different friends that I was kind of talking through, throwing around this idea, because when we were in Omaha, when I took coaching full time, I also got a part-time job at working at a coffee shop, and I fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with it. Just such a passion for coffee and making coffee. Like I just adore it. So I'm like, okay, we're going to move back here. Like, what's something I could do that would be much more realistic? And again, this like coffee trailer idea came up. I'm like, okay, I'm going to see if like these two friends would be interested. And we really had like a game plan going. We had a name, we had pinned a bunch of things on Pinterest, which is always where you start. And we kind of had this plan. Well, one of them backed out just because it didn't really make a lot of sense for her to still do this. So then I was maybe going to do it with another gal. And then that just didn't really go anywhere. It was kind of like, okay, a lot of hype, a lot of ideas. And then we're like, I just don't know if right now is the right time. And obviously such a blessing that all these little things like kind of fell through, because obviously all of those things also led me closer to what I'm doing now. But it had been then now a couple years. And I had seen this cart concept probably 2 years ago on Pinterest. And that was, again, what this like coffee cart was going to be, or this coffee trailer, something very similar concept. And then I'm like, yeah, I just don't know if the time is right. I really had been wanting to do it for sure over the last year. I'm like, okay, I've had this idea for the last 3 years. Like, I'm ready. Let's dive into this. Let's do it. And my dad was like, Bailey, you cannot not do what you're doing to pursue this. I'm like, I get that, but I want something to do in addition to what I'm doing right now. And it might sound like I'm trying to add a lot of chaos into my life. I really don't feel like it's going to be that way. I feel very organized. I feel very calm. I'm really open to whatever happens with the situation, but it took a little convincing to get him. Obviously, the guy who bailed me out from my first trailer experience, now he's like, okay, you want me to build you a coffee cart? I'm like, yeah. He's like, a coffee cart? Like, what are you going to do with the coffee cart? And that's just how my dad is. He's very much a realist. My husband has encouraged me to do this since day one. Like he really just encourages me to do things that he knows I would either be good at or that I'm very passionate about, or that would just make me really happy. So I'm obviously so grateful for that. I've been told him, I'm like, I'm so grateful to have a dad who I'm convinced can do and build nearly anything, and a husband who will encourage me to do nearly anything. Obviously so thankful for that, and to be in the situation that I'm in, and to just honestly have worked so hard over the last couple of years to build what I have had, or what I have, to just feel like I could add something like this in and do it responsibly. So anyway, my dad finally came around to building me a coffee cart, and it is in the works right now. I just need to stain it. We need to do some finishing touches. And then that's that. Like, the coffee cart is built. I really didn't want to say anything until that was built and kind of finalized, because I don't know, I've said things in the past and they don't pan out, and I just want to make sure that I was like really on board with this. And so also on my end in the process, I have my coffee maker just got delivered today, the grinder, all of the gear for the coffee maker, all the accessories, really just have like the cups and the actual coffee to order. This next week, my goal is to dial in the machine and also finalize what roast we are going to do. I'm not sharing the coffee company that I'm using. I might one day, some things, and I have honestly on social media and other ways, but just want to keep things not under wraps to be like sneaky or weird about things, but I just want it to be the best of the best. And something about me in the line of work that I do is I value quality more than almost anything. And so with this coffee cart, I actually so this is a lot of different intertwining and just kind of how things have panned out, but last January, we went to Hawaii, and we went to this cute little mountain town, and there was this coffee shop, and they had the coolest menu, the coolest vibes. The ingredients were so high quality. They were doing different like adaptogenic tinctures, and it was just incredible and exactly what I would love to replicate here. I don't know how realistic that is, because people in Nebraska are a little less open maybe to that sort of thing. Not like hallucinogenic adaptogens, but like herbs and tinctures and adrenal mocktails and different mocktails. And I don't know, I just really would love to be able to mimic something like that. And when I saw that, I'm like, this is my dream. My dream is either to have a coffee cart here, or eventually, and I have no idea where it could go, I would love to open a coffee shop like on the coast somewhere, maybe once I'm retired, like have that be my thing. That'll be many, 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 many years down the road, if ever, but that's just kind of like the vibe that I'm going for. So after seeing that and being in Hawaii, I'm like, okay, I really want something like this to happen. It's been something I've talked about for at least the last year very seriously. And it was really just like getting my dad to build me the coffee cart. So He did, and he has, and now it is up to me to finish it and make sure that it is just perfect. But coming back to ingredients, like the quality, I want to be nearly perfect. The milk, only a quality local milk that I'm planning to get from a dairy farm. I'm going to use organic ingredients in all the syrups that I make. Cane sugar, no weird sweeteners. Cane sugar, I'm not offering anything fat-free, nothing sugar-free. We're doing the full thing. If you want to enjoy a latte, you need to enjoy a latte right, and that is with quality ingredients. I'm going to be using fresh fruit, seasonal fruit to inspire the menu for this coffee cart and have it just really be something unique to this area. I know there's people that make coffee, but this is not like your Starbucks 7 brew scooters type of coffee situation. This is, think of like the best espresso you can get and order. It's the best milk you can get, and legally I would use raw milk if I could, but I can't legally. So second best milk you can get, quality ingredients. Obviously, like if I can source anything local, I'm going to. The menu's going to rotate, and that's really the vision for it. Quality over convenience is kind of the slogan that I've kind of thrown around in my mind, because I want to give you the most optimal experience, and that is very, very important to me. Quality, like I said, is very, very important to me. Even just thinking about other things that have inspired this, and one piece of that also was when we were in London this last November, and I had the best coffee I've ever had in my whole life. And it was at the Burberry coffee shop, which I didn't even know existed. Very bougie, very fancy, and the coffee shop in itself wasn't, but Burberry I know is a designer brand. And the coffee was just so good, and something that I'm like, I need to replicate this here, because I've not had a coffee like that in the States. And I've had a lot of good coffee, and the one that I would say was probably closest to that is the coffee I've had in Lincoln at Carbon Coffee, which is so good. If you're in the area, highly recommend. But I wanted to mimic that. I want to make a coffee that is an experience, make a coffee that is so quality that you can taste it. I'm not trying to impress you with convenience, truthfully. I'm trying to impress you with quality. The coffee shops you go to, like the Scooters, Starbucks, 7 Brew, they're trying to impress you with convenience, and their quality is crap. Truthfully, their quality is crap. Their beans are crap. Their syrups are crap. Everything about it is not good. And I want to be so different in that. And another piece of this too is it's specialty coffee, but it's also a specialty service, right? I'm not just at any farmer's market, but I'm going to be hopefully setting up at weddings, maybe couples that are really interested in doing like an alcohol-free wedding, doing like a specialty mocktail and a specialty latte that couple can decide and kind of create on their own, that I then create for their guests. That's a huge dream of mine, to be able to do that. Also, graduation parties, same concept. You design the drink. What do you want on your menu? Any like crazy outlandish coffee idea that you have, I want to try to make that happen. Also, maybe be set up outside of the pool around here. I don't know. I just have a lot of different ideas, a lot of people I need to connect with, and I would encourage you, or I shouldn't say I encourage, I ask that if you have anybody that might be interested in a service like this, like just let them know what I'm doing. Maybe share my Instagram. It's all so new. It's an itty bitty baby, but a lot of big dreams for this. Think of like baby showers, bridal showers, events. Like I just want to see how I can use this to connect with people in a different way, to have a passion outside of what I'm doing right now, and it's something to dedicate some time to, something that can grow with my family as my family grows. No, this is not a pregnancy announcement at all, but just know that that's in my future, and I just want to make sure everything I do is in alignment with that, and something I can continue to do for a long time. So that is what I'm starting. I'm starting a coffee cart, you guys. I'm so excited. It is something where I finally pressed purchase on the coffee maker and the coffee grinder a few nights ago, and it just got delivered, and that was just like oh my gosh, like this is happening. And so I just couldn't be more excited. Like I said, I've had this I guess I should kind of bring you up to speed. Since I had Oliver, I again was like, I want something to pursue. I'm not working. I need to figure out what I like to do outside of work, and what I'm passionate about. And so I started making coffee syrups and kind of shared that on my Instagram a little bit. Maybe that's how you found me. I'd be pretty random if so, but maybe. And I ended up selling my coffee syrups in like little jars. I did like a 4 or 3 set like bundle you could get of different coffee syrups that were all high quality, made from scratch, and that went over so well. I was very, very blown away. I think within like 13 hours, all 64 jars were sold. And I think signs like that are just honestly little like glimmers of encouragement. I don't love when people are like, I was called by God to do this. And I don't say, I don't know, that sounds kind of wrong, but I just think sometimes like we have this desire in our own head and we can pray over it and we can really think about it. But I think like sometimes those signs, either I'm just oblivious and I'm not paying attention, which could obviously be the case, but also like I think if I have an idea in my mind, I'm at least trying not to pursue it right away, but just wait for like the glimmers that God is showing me, not just like this like, all the lights from heaven come and shine on this one idea. I just don't think that's how it happens. At least it's not how it happens for me, but it's glimmers of like, you did this thing and this happened, like this happened from that. This was a result of that. Or you, started making coffee syrups and they went over so well. And you've had people asking you to make more, and just glimmers that there's interest, glimmers that there's people who care. And I think that's all I need to like be like, okay, I'm running with this idea. Let's do this. I also think there is a lack of a market like for something like this in central, I would say arguably, I don't know if I'm really central Nebraska. There's a lot of things happening in Omaha. I know of a couple people who are starting coffee carts in Omaha or have, and truly so excited for them because there's such a market there. But I think we neglect the market in small town Nebraska. Especially being on like the west side of Lincoln, 45 minutes west of Lincoln, there's just not a lot of like those specialty fun little things that like I want from a city experience. You just can't get here, which is obviously like, yes, why I live here. I shouldn't expect to have that same experience, but there are people around here that are interested in that sort of thing. There are people around here that want something fun, something different, something unique. They want high quality food around here. And I just don't think we give that enough credit. I've just seen that enough of like, I want to be able to have a coffee cart at a bridal shower in York, Nebraska, and have somebody who can actually do that. And that's not coming from Lincoln or Omaha. That's not my clientele. My clientele is not Omaha. My clientele is like people around me that want something special, want something unique, something that I really just don't see being done in this area of Nebraska. And I just want to cater to those people. So I am really excited. I've talked way longer than I thought that I would, but obviously so excited about this. So excited to share this with you. If you want to follow along with what I'm doing, I haven't shared a lot, but I will share so much more now as this is kind of like out in the open. Camp, if you're going on Instagram, Camp Coffee Cart. Yeah, I think that's it. That's the handle. That's it. I didn't even tell you the name. The name is Camp. I've had this idea for a long time because as a cart, you are setting up camp other places. So a lot of different events I'm hoping to be a part of and be able to post like, hey, see where I'm setting up camp. Double meaning, right? Like you're setting up camp and it's Camp Coffee Cart. No really deep, insightful meaning behind it. Truly just have had that idea for such a long time. I think camp coffee is so cute. I've thrown around like camp cocktails would also be really fun. I don't drink really, so that is not so much of a temptation for me, but something that I can just continue to grow and evolve. But Camp is the name, Camp Coffee Cart. Share it with anyone you know. Share this episode with anybody that you love and know and want to hear it. But I'm going to link it in the description as well for you to check it out. Right now, I don't have a website up quite yet or anything like that, but would love to talk to you over on that page if you have any ideas or any connections that you want to send my way. Again, this is in the Nebraska area, so don't get too crazy on me, but I'm just, so excited for this and so excited to be able to kind of take you along. Obviously, this is much more of like a personal mission of mine, but nonetheless, I just love to be transparent and share with you what's going on. So let's go ahead and close today's episode in prayer. So dear Lord, just thank you for today. Thank you for, again, just always the opportunity to talk on the podcast and share what's on my heart, what's on my mind with the women listening. I thank you for them and that they just spend their time listening. I just pray that they find value in what I share and leave feeling so encouraged and inspired to take care of their whole body health. I pray for their safety and their health over this next couple of weeks and beyond, and that they just continue to pursue a relationship with you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So if you're interested in following along with camp, you can find that at Camp Coffee Cart on Instagram, or at Bailey Seaton on Instagram is my personal. Like I have said many times, I am working with women in the preconception stages right now. I have a preconception plan that is new and linked in the, not really new, it's new for 2026, and it is in the description of today's episode as well. I am always so thankful that you listen to the podcast, so thankful for the clientele that this is just connected me with, and if that's one of you, I appreciate you more than you could ever know, and I can't wait to talk to you again in a couple weeks. So with that, I'll talk to you again 2 Thursdays from now. Bye.